So the process for completing the square, you're going to be asked to do two things. Okay, one, you're going to be asked to solve. Okay, if you're asked to solve, you don't need to, even if the directions tell you solve by completing the square, you don't need to. If there's a more efficient way to do it, you'll do it, and that efficient way is to use the solve feature of your TI-89. Okay, so in a problem like this, you don't have to do this by hand, but I'm going to show you the process again just so you have seen it done in case you take a math class next year and you have to do these by hand. Okay, so the process to complete the square by hand is the following. Step one, you're going to isolate your variable terms. Okay, what that means is basically you're going to move the constant over to the other side. Okay, so the very first step would be group your x terms, just leave them together on one side of the equation, move your constant over to the other side. So there's step one. And this is for solving an equation by completing the square. Okay, once you do this, you're going to actually complete the square. And completing the square requires the following steps. You're going to divide the b value, the first degree term's coefficient, by 2. Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're going to take 1/2 of b. Okay, so what is half of our b term here? The b value is the coefficient of x, so half of -16 is -8. We're going to take half of that, and then we're going to square that value. Okay, so really what we're doing is we're taking 1/2 of b and then squaring it. So what was -8 squared? Is 64. So we're going to add that to both sides of our equation. Okay, so what we did right here, we completed the square. We transformed this left side into the special factor form of a perfect square trinomial. And that's going to allow us to rewrite this as a binomial square. And what we did on the right was, because we added a 64 that wasn't originally there, we have to balance the equation by doing the same thing to the other side of the equation. So we added a 64 to the right side of the equation as well. Okay. So once we get to this step, what we can then do is we can rewrite as a binomial square. Okay, so the whole point of going through these steps was it allows us to take the left side of this equation and factor it using one of the special factor forms into, again, we have a base of x being squared and a base of either plus or minus 8 here. The way that you find your second term is it's just that value here, this half of the b value. So what was 1/2 of b again? The -8. You're going to keep the sign the same. So whatever half of this first degree term's coefficient is, that's going to be your second term of your binomial. So it's always going to fit the form x minus, and then this is going to be 1/2 b, quantity squared. And actually it'll be plus 1/2 b, because that sign will carry on with it. Okay. And now the right side, we can simplify what we have here as well. So that's 56. And then the final step, if you're actually solving this, is you'll solve, in this particular case, by extracting the square root. So we extract the square root. We get x minus 8 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 56. Well, 56 is 4 times 14, so we can Simplify that. The square root of 4 comes out as a 2. The 14 is going to stay inside our radical. And then the final step is to isolate our x value. So we add an 8 to both sides. You'll always write the number that's not attached to the square root. Write the rational number first and then the irrational number second. So these would be your two solutions. 8 minus 2 square root of 14 and 8 plus 2 square root of 14. And so this is how you would actually enter them online. Right? Now, again, I just wanted you guys to be able to see this process. The steps that you guys should take for a problem like this, there's no reason to go through all these steps and spend all this time on it, because what you should do is take the algebra tab, F2 algebra tab, select solve, type your equation exactly as it appears. So x squared minus 16x plus 8, set it equal to 0, solve for x, so comma x, hit enter, and you should get the same thing here. And now notice the form that your calculator will show. So the calculator shows this as the following. Okay, but if you use your calculator and you want to know the form or the order to enter it, you need to get rid of your grouping symbol, so distribute through. So we get 2 root 14 plus 8 and minus 2 root 14 plus 8 when you distribute. Okay, always write the rational part first here. So we move the 8 over in front. So really what we're looking at is 8 plus 2 root 14, and when we move the 8 in front here, 8 minus 2 root 14. So it winds up exactly what we got up here.